Okay, when you hear Lionel Messi, you think goals, right? 8 Ballon d'Ors, World Cup winner, an icon.
Absolutely. And still pulling in massive earnings, over $135 million a year, even now.
Exactly. But here's the thing, the really interesting part for our deep dive today. While we've all been watching the magic on the pitch, he's been quietly building this off-pitch empire. We're talking an estimated $850 million.
And that difference, between the super visible athletic success and this almost invisible financial infrastructure, that's the real story here, isn't it?
Totally.
So this isn't really about celebrity finances or gossip.
Yeah.
We're aiming to break down the actual blueprint. How does someone like Messi make that deliberate shift from, just earning big checks to actually owning assets that grow over time?
Right. It's a fascinating transformation, and honestly, there are lessons here for pretty much anyone trying to build something lasting. So our mission today, let's unpack the 6 kind of silent strategies, the core frameworks he seems to have used, turning that global fame into real financial freedom, and maybe more importantly, making sure his greatness creates value that compounds, that lasts.
Okay. And like with any solid structure, you've got to start with the foundation, which in stories like this, it always comes back to mindset, doesn't it?
Yeah, let's start there. We're calling it the wealth switch mindset. Now, for an athlete at that level, you'd think money is just there, loads of it. But the research suggests his whole view of money, of capital, was maybe fundamentally different from a lot of his peers. How did that start?
You really have to rewind back to his childhood. Rosario, Argentina. When he was about 11, I think, the doctors diagnosed him with a growth hormone deficiency.
Yeah.
And the treatment, it was something like $1,000 a month back then.
Wow. That's a huge amount for a working-class family.
Crippling, yeah. So that early experience, it didn't frame money as like a luxury item or something flashy. It defined money as, well, survival first. And then as the thing that unlocked his future, his freedom, his potential.
So it wasn't about the joy of earning big bucks later on. It was rooted in this fundamental need for security, the need to fund his own health, his own path.
Precisely. And that leads to the critical shift, the real insight here. Money stops being the end goal. It becomes a tool, an instrument you use to create more instruments, more value engines.
Okay, so less about just collecting the paychecks.
Right, less collecting income, more building assets, creating things that generate value, whether he's on the pitch scoring goals or not. And you see that reflected later in, say, his diversified holdings, like that huge real estate portfolio in Spain, reported around $232 million. That's asset building.
If money became the tool, was there a specific moment or maybe a quote that really captured that change? Moving from just income to building lasting value.
I think it comes through when he talked about his legacy. He once said something like, I want to be remembered for more than goals. That really sums it up, doesn't it? Moving beyond the immediate paycheck, the contract value, towards building something that compounds and, lasts way beyond his playing career. And that mindset, that's really the launch pad for strategy number 2, what we call the career asset bridge.
Okay, this takes us into those really dramatic career moments, doesn't it? Leaving Barcelona in 2021, heartbreaking for fans. Then the move to PSG, and after that, the really pivotal decision, Inter Miami and MLS in 2023. Now, at the time, a lot of people saw that Miami move as, kind of winding down, a lifestyle choice, maybe, but strategically, it sounds like it was something else entirely.
Oh, completely. It was a masterclass, really, in using your reputation, your global standing, as direct leverage for ownership. That's the career asset bridge. He didn't just sign a player contract. He turned his reputation into actual equity, a piece of the team.
But wait a second. Moving to MLS, objectively, it looked like taking a pay cut from top European wages, right? He was trading guaranteed cash, huge cash, for his stake in a league that's still growing. Wasn't that a massive gamble, giving up the sure thing for uncertain equity?
That's a fair question. It's the classic risk-reward calculation.
Yeah.
But look how he structured it. He didn't just take equity. He hedged that uncertainty by building in huge commercial leverage points, these unprecedented revenue-sharing deals. One with Apple, tied directly to new MLS streaming subscriptions globally. Another with Adidas, his lifetime sponsor.
Okay, so he wasn't just betting on Inter Miami winning games.
No, he was betting on himself, on his own gravity, monetizing his presence, the eyeballs he draws, the subscribers he pulls into the entire league ecosystem.
So he gets paid not just for playing, but for the value surge he creates. He becomes a stakeholder in the upside he generates.
Exactly, and look at the immediate effect. Inter Miami's valuation. Forbes added around $585 million in 2022. After Messi arrived, it shot past $1.2 billion. He basically walked in and boom, added nearly $1 billion in value. That's leverage.
Wow.
And you see a similar logic in his other ventures like the MiM Hotels in Spain.
Yeah.
He's investing in markets like luxury tourism that his own image already influences. It's synergistic.
Okay, so we've got the mindset and the strategic bridge. But, big ideas are one thing, execution is everything.
Yeah.
How did he actually translate these big bets into the day-to-day grind? This brings us to the habit compound engine.
Right, because real lasting wealth, just like elite athletic performance, isn't built on one massive win. It's built on thousands of consistent small decisions compounding over time. Messi runs on this habit compound engine. I mean, look at him on the pitch at 37. That's not luck. That's years of relentless daily training, obsessive nutrition, science-backed recovery methods. It's a system.
And it sounds like he applies that exact same almost obsessive discipline to his business side, too. Like, let's talk about Más. Plus, for sure, his functional drink launched in 2024. That wasn't just slapping his name on a can, was it?
Not even close. He was apparently deeply involved, co-developing the actual formula with nutritionists, making absolutely sure it aligned with his health-first brand. No cutting corners.
Right.
And notice the launch strategy, too. Very disciplined. He launched it first in the U.S. market. That's the biggest, most competitive wellness market in the world. Not Argentina, his home country, which might have been the emotional choice.
That's a pure business calculation, prioritizing scale and market maturity over sentimentality.
Exactly. And then you look at something like 525 Rosario, his media company, named after his hometown, yes, but focused on global sports documentaries, family content. It's all very intentional, quietly building long-term assets, not chasing, quick viral hits.
It really shows his empire isn't just built on highlight reels. It's built on these repeatable, disciplined actions that just stack up over time.
Yeah, there's that quote attributed to him that captures it. Every morning I wake up thinking how I can be better than yesterday. That doesn't stop just because the stadium is quiet. That's the engine.
That idea of alignment, staying true to the core brand, that leads us perfectly into the fourth strategy, filtering decisions. I mean, imagine being Messi, the number of opportunities, the deals thrown at you daily. It must be overwhelming. Saying yes is easy money, but saying no to huge 9-figure offers, that must be incredibly tough. He uses this legacy-aligned decision framework. Talk about that.
Absolutely. Saying no is probably the hardest but most important part at that level. That's where the real discipline kicks in. The filter seems pretty straightforward, but requires ruthless honesty. Does this opportunity genuinely align with the long-term legacy I want to build? It's about actively protecting the brand, his image, from getting diluted or seeming inconsistent. Every yes has to reinforce the core message.
Okay, but how does that practically work? How does it stop dilution beyond just, doing good things? Give us some concrete examples where the investment clearly ties back to his personal story or values.
Okay, look at his foundation, the Leo Messi Foundation. Started way back in 2007. What does it focus on? Childhood education and healthcare. That's a direct line back to his own childhood, needing that expensive growth hormone treatment. It's authentic.
Right, it connects personally.
Then the MiM Hotels, often marketed as eco-certified, family-friendly places, totally consistent with his public image. Quiet, devoted family man, not, party hotspots.
Makes sense.
Even the Más Plus drink we mentioned. It's marketed around clean energy, positive hydration, performance, reinforcing discipline, health, not sugary hype or party vibes.
So these aren't just random business ventures to make money. They're like extensions of his personal narrative. They literally tell his story.
That's exactly it. That's the difference between just cashing in on fame and strategically building a legacy. He's crafting a narrative that he wants to endure long after his playing days.
Yeah.
Like he said, roughly, in 2023. I want to leave something that speaks for who I am, not just what I did.
Okay, let's shift to how all this fame actually turns into financial power. Strategy 5, the Influence Amplifier. We know he makes bank from endorsements and ventures, maybe $70 million a year. But it's not just the amount, right? It's how these deals are structured, using that influence for more than just a paycheck.
Yeah, he really flips the script on traditional endorsements. He's not just like a famous face you hire for an ad campaign. He actively converts his influence, his amplification power, into actual ownership or long-term stake. Look at the Adidas deal.
The lifetime one.
That lifetime contract, reportedly worth potentially over $1 billion in total value. It positions him not just as an athlete they sponsor, but as a permanent cultural icon associated with their brand for generations.
And we already talked about the Apple and MLS deal. His influence isn't just compensated with a flat fee, it's tied directly to revenue growth through that sharing model.
Yeah.
He benefits only if they benefit significantly from his presence.
Exactly. And then look at a deal like the one with Socios.com, the fan token platform. It's a multi-year partnership valued over $20 million. But sources say he's positioned more as a global ambassador and stakeholder. He's involved in the platform's growth, not just promoting it.
So his financial success becomes intertwined with the success of his partners. It's a shared upside.
Precisely. And all of this hinges on trust, doesn't it? His consistency over decades, his perceived authenticity, and crucially, his almost unique global neutrality. He's admired pretty much everywhere, across different cultures, continents. That makes him a kind of trusted global currency.
That trust is the economic power. Brands feel safe with him because billions of people already trust his image.
Yeah, I remember reading a quote from a Pepsi executive that summed it up perfectly. Something like, with Messi, you don't need a campaign, you just need his presence. That level of pull isn't just market power, it's structural economic power.
All right, let's bring it home with the final strategy. Strategy 6, playing the endurance and legacy game. This is about looking beyond the horizon, right? Preparing for phase 2, the life after football, the CEO phase, way before the final whistle actually blows.
Absolutely. And maybe nothing hammered home the need for this kind of planning, like that sudden, unexpected exit from Barcelona in 2021.
Yeah, that must have been a shock, losing his professional home after 2 decades.
A massive shock. It proved that even for a legend like Messi, nothing is guaranteed forever in sports. It forces you to think about adaptation, about having structures outside the immediate playing context. And the thing is, he was already prepared. He had already built things that weren't dependent on him wearing that specific jersey.
And we see concrete evidence of that independent structure, right? Like that huge real estate portfolio in Spain, the $232 million one listed in 2024, that's managed through his own personal firm. It shows long-term asset control completely separate from his club's salary.
That's the definition of looking ahead. And launching ventures like Más Plus in wellness, a massive growth sector, or 525 Rosario in content creation, he's deliberately planting flags in industries that will remain relevant long after people stop debating his goal tallies. He's future-proofing his influence.
So the goal isn't just to retire rich, it's to smoothly transition, to reinvent, to maintain that impact in a different form.
Exactly. The truly enduring figures don't just react when their first career ends. They actively design their next chapter. They engineer their forever, so to speak.
He built his off-pitch game to outlast the final whistle on the pitch.
That's a great way to put it.
So wrapping this up for you, the listener, that estimated $850 million empire, it didn't just happen. It looks like the result of applying these 6 kind of quiet but powerful frameworks consistently over years. The mindset shift, the career asset bridge, the habit engine, legacy alignment, the influence amplifier, and playing that endurance game.
Yeah, the big takeaway, I think, is pretty universal. While everyone was mesmerized by the goals, the trophies, the on-field brilliance, Messi and his team were busy building the underlying infrastructure, focusing on compound value, on ownership, while maybe others were just focused on the next contract.
He didn't wait for the end. He architected his evolution.
Exactly. He designed it.
Which leads us to maybe a final thought for you to consider. The final whistle blows on every career eventually, right? Whether it's sports or something else. That ending can be the start of something even bigger, but only if you've laid the groundwork.
Right. So the real question we want to leave you with is this. What systems, what assets, what infrastructure are you building today so that your success, your security, your impact tomorrow doesn't solely depend on you being actively on the pitch doing what you do right now?
Think about building value that outlasts your active participation. That's the real long game.
That's the legacy game.
Thank you for joining us for this deep dive into Messi's blueprint for turning greatness into enduring freedom. We'll catch you on the next one.